If you'd like to see how we made this nice little padded bench, stay tuned because that's what we're going to do today. Good morning and welcome to another Memphis Monday 177. I got a friend that needs a small padded stool. She doesn't want it too big. She needs it padded on top and she doesn't want it to be too heavy. Sounds like an interesting project. I don't really have a plan yet, but I think it's something we can figure out. So let's knock off that chatter and get to work. Here's a little drawing of what I think it's going to look like. It's going to be about a foot tall, have angled legs, with this brace across here that'll hold up, that'll support the legs, but also hold up the padded top here. Let's work on these legs first. These are the first two pieces we're going to build. We're going to build these legs. They'll be angled about 7 degrees, and they'll be 11 inches tall and 20 inches across the bottom and 18 at the top. So let's cut this 11.5 dimension first, remembering we have to put a 7-degree angle on it. This line here is angled, and because the bottom down here is 20 inches and the top is 18, so it slopes in at the top. But anyway, I want to cut this line on the table saw. Let me show you how I'm going to do it. Starting off by taking this piece of cedar and I'm going to cut a wedge off of it. I just tack the cedar down to this flat board. And now I've taken that wedge and I'm putting it in here to make all four of my cuts exactly the same angle. These little side braces here set into notches, and this is a cedar that's been planed down to 1/2 inch. My theory is that this is a piece of 3/16 inch plywood is going to somehow make this thing stronger. I got my doubts. Well, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. This thing's too tall, too wide. The legs aren't slanted enough. This apron, this brace is not thick enough. To get a gusting effect, this brace needs to be wider, maybe with a radius in here. So I need to fix that. Strength-wise, I think using this 1/2 inch plywood is going to work. This thing's probably strong enough, but that's about it. So our construction technique's okay. Everything else is wrong, and so I'm starting over. I have a wedge in place. I got our new legs. They're at 10 degrees instead of 8 degrees, and they're about 10 3/4 inches tall instead of 11.5. I kind of like having this solid wood brace across here, but I don't have any more cedar in stock, but I do have some poplar, and I'm going to plane that down to 1/2 inch. Additionally, the braces are going to go from 4 inches to 6 inches, or actually this is 5.5, and those other braces were 2 1/4. So I'm doubling up on the size, and I'm going to put a little radius in here. Let's plane these. Well, we're almost back to where we were, huh? Well, here's the two bottles. I think this is a lot better. I'll put a radius in here. Fancy it up some. Keep it light. I definitely like, this is a little bit lower. Legs are at a bigger slant. And you can see that this one's narrower. Now this is not the, this is just the attachment bottom here. This is the first bottom. I'm going to put an upholstered top on this, and I'll be attaching it from the underside through this 3/8 inch plywood. So this will have almost 3/4 of an inch of plywood on the top, but I'm just putting it in stages. Okay, next thing is to cut a radius in here, and I may cut out some kind of appropriate radius on the ends here to give it a kind of a lighter feel. I don't expect you to remember the formula for drawing a radius, but there it is. I use the bottom one. It's easier to remember, but I don't expect you to remember it anyway. I keep it written on the side of my scaffolding here. Just remember there is a formula, and if you ever need to draw a radius, just look up the formula. Here's the ciphering I did on the to figure out that radius. The radius, the number you're looking for, the answer is that R there, that 72.5. At 72.5 centimeters. It's easier to do this in centimeters. So my compass then, from my the pointy end down there to the pencil, is 72.5. Changed my mind on this cutout here. This is actually not a radius, it's an ellipse, but I think that would put all the weight on these little feet here, and I'm not comfortable with that. I think I'm just going to forget this cutout on the side. So what I'm doing here is covering up the end grain by putting this little piece of poplar in there. I just had to cut that at 10 degrees here, 10 degrees down here. So I'm going to upholster this, the top of this thing. And I remembered a couple years ago we upholstered when we restored a rocking chair, we reupholstered the seat. And I put all my upholstery things in this bag, and so now I don't remember what's in here, so we're going to take it out and see I've got to get some material to cover the seat, but in the meantime I can go ahead and finish the bench part. Staining our piece in a color called Traditional Cherry. I'm brushing it on and then I'll wipe it off. So it'll be colorful but not real dark. I'm not letting it sit too long because I really don't want it to be real dark. Well, I really like that color. That's the inside. So let's flip it over and do the outside. I'm really wiping this stain down. Down to almost dry wood. Well, this is the color I was going for. This is that maple plywood. This is the color I wasn't going for. I didn't want this rustic, old-timey look here. I want a flat color. This is that solid poplar we used. I don't know how it came out on the other side. Let's check. Well, it came out a lot better on this side. What's going to sell this piece is the upholstery job I do on this top. Now it's going to work. This is 1/2-inch plywood. Cut it roughly the size of the top here. And that'll be screwed in from the underside. I got the foam padding for the top. What I need now is a cover. Okay, here's the system. I got this piece of 1/2-inch plywood. And then I got this inch of foam. And then I'm going to cover the whole thing in this fabric. It's a print called mossy oak. This is a power stapler. Bet you wish you had one of those. Well, here's our little top. Let's go ahead and attach this stool to it. Okay, I just want to be careful. I'm using these tiny little screws. I think they're about 3/4 of an inch. But I want to make sure I don't go through both things. Now that one worked. Alrighty, let's flip it over and see what it looks like. Well, there's our stool for Memphis Monday 177. I got a nice little radius here. This is poplar. We got a 1-inch thick foam pad with a cover called mossy oak. 10-degree slant on the legs. My friend wanted a nice padding here because this is for specialized purpose. All right, so overall I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'll put some more polyurethane stuff on it later. Well, that does it for another Memphis Monday 177. Today we built a padded stool. Got nice thick padding on it. It's 12 inches 12 inches off the deck. It's got legs slanted 10 degrees with a nice little radius there on the front and back brace. The seat is held on by screws from the underside. All right, so that's it. That's all I have to say. Make sure you comment and tweet and Facebook and share and like and subscribe. Hit the little bell and all that business. But most important, what is it? Make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.